Yo, what's up? I'm Blade, and with me, as always, is Morbius, and it is Morbin time. Welcome back to It's the Book Reviews, the podcast where we discuss all things books. And it's October. It's the season of Satan, so we are here to discuss some spooky stuff, particularly vampires. We all like vampires. We all love Twilight, but we're not talking about Twilight. We're talking about Empire of the Vampire, the first in Jay Kristoff's Empire of the Vampire trilogy. This book came out in 2021. It's got a 4.33 on Goodreads out of 5 stars with about 71,000 ratings. And we're going to get into it here. The third book comes out next month, November, right?
Yeah, early November.
Early November. So we're reading the first book. Andrew's read the first and second book already, but he's rereading them with me. So it's the first time that I read this first book. We will, of course, do the second one, and then hopefully we'll be on the hype train for the third book, assuming there is a hype train. I think there is.
I think it's popular enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's glorify the devil and talk about some vampires. I'm going to be honest. So, a little background for everybody that's watching. This is not the first time, even though it is the first time I've read this series, it is not the first time I've read Jay Kristoff. Unfortunately, I had the supreme misfortune of reading Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. Andrew and I both read that for our fabled fantasy March Madness tournament where we were reading
You
a
guys
bunch of
probably heard
different.
about it. It
Yeah,
really
I'm
went
sure
viral. It went
millions of
super
people
viral.
watched it. Millions. It's what really put us on the map and got us all our ad deals. Was the fantasy trilogy March Madness tournament, and that's when we first read Nevernight. And you may have been able to guess, Nevernight did not win its round, so we did not read the second book. I actually had bought all three of the books of that trilogy and sold them all to a consignment bookshop after reading the first book because it sucked ass. So, and that's just a fact. I don't really care what anybody says. So, but Andrew, you give your side of the story while reading Nevernight. You know, I feel like you were kind of saying the whole time, like, dude, I hate that you don't like this, because you had already read at least the first of these books, correct? When we read Nevernight, because you were
I want to
saying to me
say I
like,
probably
hate
read.
that you're having this experience because Jay Kristoff is better than this.
Yeah, I think where we messed up is I think it's. I mean, I don't think I know it's. Nevernight is a YA story, and again, why when you know something's YA and when you're going into it, it's fine. You kind of have certain expectations, whereas we thought it was maybe more adult fantasy, which is what Empire of the Vampire is. And especially me, like I can't remember if I'd already read the second book or not. But I definitely read the first one. Obviously, that's the only reason we even knew really anything about it. But having that expectation that, for me in particular, made it even worse. But then it was like, dude, trust me, he's normally not like this. But I think that's why we didn't like that book as well, because we thought it was something that maybe it wasn't tailored for. And maybe that's on us.
Yeah.
I don't know if, like, when we looked into it, though, it didn't seem. It's just so hard to tell these days. Which I will say, maybe it's not that hard. Well, for him at least, because the covers look kind of YA, but so does this series. This series is a little
Yeah.
more adult
Yeah. I
looking,
mean,
but
yeah. But you could
the cover,
potentially look at the cover of this book and be like, that looks like cheese.
yeah, but it's
Like,
not. It's
yeah.
dark. It's great, and that's what I thought Nevernight was going to be because it sounded similar vibes. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was the Nevernight did not hit. So
Yeah.
thankfully we
And
have
this episode's not about,
not all,
yeah.
but mostly adult characters in this book. Whereas Nevernight, they were all minors, and that's just unfortunate sometimes.
Yeah, and we also know now that like a bunch of kids going to a school, even though our favorite series, Red Rising, technically starts that way, usually that kind of story is just not for us. And we did like another
Yeah,
book, the Will of the Many, that actually has an element of that was good, but usually it's just anyway. This episode's
yeah.
not about Nevernight. Nevernight sucks, but Empire of the Vampire, I gave this book 5 stars, so I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way. Jay Kristoff for me has completely changed my outlook. I now know that he is capable of writing something that doesn't make me want to jump out of my window on the second floor of my house here. So yeah, I really enjoyed Empire of the Vampire. Gave it 5 stars. We'll talk a little non-spoiler, just general stuff for those that haven't read it and want to hear about it. But yeah, man, I loved this book. I told you when I started, if you follow us, which you probably don't, you may know that we've been reading a lot of comics lately. So some of the book reading has fallen off to a degree. But this book I really locked in on. Like I didn't read comics very much at all while I was reading this book. Um, so yeah, I mean, what was it like for you the second time around? I assume it's still a 5 star book for you.
Oh, for sure. I got to experience the Audible this go around for a little bit of it just to kind of keep
Mm.
pace with you, and it was actually pretty good. Sometimes I feel like the Audibles are not good. Like I read Catabasis, or however you say it, R.F. Kuang's newest book. And dude, I feel that one was the opposite. So it was good to know. Like I did not like that book, and I think I maybe would have liked it a little better if I didn't Audible. Um, Whereas this one, it was pretty good. It was pretty solid. And I don't know. Sometimes those aren't good. So I would recommend the Audible as well. But this has been one of my favorite series since I read the first book. Like
Hmm.
it's in my top
Yep.
10, even though the series isn't finished. And so I was definitely nervous going into this because just definitely with the way it looks, and then obviously if you have read any of Jay Kristoff's other stuff and it's not that good, like you have to just kind of wipe your brain and realize this is not what Nevernight was. And so it was a
And
tough
you're not
sell
saying
to
that all
you,
of Jake
obviously.
Kristoff's other stuff is not good. You're saying, from my perspective, the only other thing I read from him,
Yeah,
I did not
and
like.
that's all we've read. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
am like as far as series go, I'm 50-50 here, on win-loss rate.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just depends. Like, I can't speak to any of his other stuff, but the two stuff that we have, I would not recommend Nevernight, and I would recommend Empire of the Vampire. But I know you gave me some slack for the series just with the way it visually looks and then how bad Nevernight was. So there was some pressure going into this. I didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
I had prepared myself for you to not like it. So for you to actually genuinely like it and not just be like, oh, it was pretty good. Like, it seemed like you actually really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, thank God. Because there was
Yeah.
I was
And
a
I
little
gotta
nervous,
say,
man. I
man,
won't lie.
I can't think of a single time you've steered me wrong. So I knew in the back of my mind, like, I'm probably gonna like Empire of the Vampire. But it was fun when before I got around to it, kind of nagging you constantly, like, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, Nevernight was terrible. I
Sure,
don't know
yeah.
what you see in this guy. Sure, bro, I'm sure it's great, your little vampire story. Um, but I love vampires, so I knew that there was a good
Same,
chance that
dude.
I would like this. And dude, Jake, our friend Jake said something so true that I didn't think about. When I rated this 5 stars on Goodreads, he commented, he was like, bro, you love vampires and empires. Like, this is the perfect book for you. Something along those lines. And I
That's
was like,
funny.
dude, that's so true. So yeah, if you don't know anything about Empire of the Vampire, just really quickly, it has been 27 long years since the last sunrise. For nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity, building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now, only a few tiny sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. Gabriel de Leon is a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending the realm and church from the creatures of the night. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell his story. A story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and the forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope, the Holy Grail. So that's essentially that's the little blurb on Goodreads. So no spoilers there. That is the synopsis of this book and what you're kind of getting into. So again, no spoilers. We both gave it 5 stars. We love this book. It's lit book reviews certified fresh. But a couple of things to note. First, the writing style and just kind of the way this he approaches like the delivery of this book. That was a stupid way to say the writing style. Um, as the book says, it's being told from the perspective of the main character Gabriel telling his story. So your main character is revisiting the past. So a little bit like of I'd say probably 10% of the book it's weaved throughout the book, but only about 10% of the book is essentially I guess that would be the first person, right? And then most of the
First
book is
person.
third person, or do I have that backwards? That's right.
What's tough is that it's technically all in third person. It's just because
Yes.
most of the
Yeah.
story is Gabriel telling the story, it's I, but it's in quotation. So it's tough.
Right.
Yeah, most of it reads like it's first person because it's mostly
Yes.
Gabriel de Leon. But then back like every now and then, the guy who's interviewing him like will ask a question or interrupt, and so like you do kind of have to be paying attention because sometimes if you're not, you're like, wait, what's going on here? And it's like, oh, now he's broken that story, and now he's talking in person, and then you kind of got to log back in. I will say with the Audible, that was like tricky a couple times. Um,
Mm.
but I feel like reading probably. Did you struggle like knowing, oh, this is in the present now? I guess probably not.
I wouldn't say struggle, but there were just a couple of times where it would jump from him telling the story to being back in present day in the tower, and I wouldn't pick up on it immediately. It'd be a couple of sentences, and then I'd
Okay.
be like, "Oh, wait, we're back in the tower now." Just because
Yeah.
that's partially a me problem because I read too fast to the point where sometimes you could accuse me of like reading too
Jumping ahead.
fast, like where I should slow down a little.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it only happened a couple of times, and I would just go back a few sentences, and be like, "Okay, we're back in the tower." But all that to say, if you told me that was, and I think you did tell me, and maybe I didn't just think about it, but if you actually like looked me in the eyes and said, "Hey, this is how this book is," I would have thought, "I'm not gonna like that. Like, I don't like that he did that. Why
Yeah.
didn't he just tell it in a normal way?" But it actually is like great in this book. It's so cool,
Yeah.
and it's so different because I mean, you're being told this story and you already know that like the
That he
main
survives
story, at
this.
least so far that we know, yeah, the main story of this guy's life, not only did he win, at least at one point, he's now lost, he's now imprisoned, but the main story that you're following, like he wins and he survives, or at least it seems that way from the way it's being told right now.
He at
Now,
least survives.
obvious,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess wins is tough to say. He wins against one foe, but clearly
He
he
kills
lost
the
against
one
another.
big bad guy, but you don't know how.
Yes. You don't know how, but you know he's gonna survive everything. So it's just a really interesting way to tell a story because you know the main bad guy that you've been introduced to is assumably going to die. That's the story that's told. Um, so yeah, I actually really liked that. I thought I wouldn't, thought I might not, but I did.
Yeah, I agree. And I like the way, which I mean, we're still non spoilers, but essentially this book is broken into 6 parts. And, like you said, he's getting interviewed by a guy who's captured him. Um, Trying to figure out information about like what he knows. And essentially the way he goes back and forth, I thought was really well done because it starts off where he's talking about when he's a kid and then it jumps like way forward after he's already like super well known and like has a big name for himself. And so there's still all these questions even after book 1 of like, so how did he get to where he's at? Like there's still so many holes in the story with how he's
Oh
telling the
yeah,
story to where it makes it even more interesting. It's not like he's just telling his story from start to finish. Like he's purposely leaving stuff out to then have to come back to again. So it makes it, even though this is really only one POV, it makes it feel like more because you get young Gabriel, and then you get old Gabriel, then young and old, and so it just goes back and forth. So it does leave you on some cliffhangers for a little bit, and then goes back. Um, but I
yeah.
agree.
Which
I
is another
normally would
thing.
not like this style.
Yeah, and that's another aspect that I would think I say I think I wouldn't like, but it's really always done pretty well. It's just it's a great example of it's the same character. I feel like the way you usually see this is, oh, we have multiple characters that we're following, and like Store with Stormlight. You're with
Yeah,
Adolin in one section of the book, and then you're with Shallan, and then you're with Kaladin. And with each one of those, when you get to the end of that little section and it's going to swap to another character, you're thinking, dang it, dude, I want to know what happens next. I don't want to read about Shallan. Shallan's not a good example. I don't want to read about Adolin yet. I want to continue hearing about Kaladin. But then you get to
yeah,
Adolin's part and you're like, "Oh, wow, I'm so happy I'm here." And when his ends, you're like, "Dang it, I don't wanna go back to Kaladin. I want" it's just
yeah,
this back and forth where it's so good, and he does that in this as well because there's essentially 2 plot lines that
yeah.
Gabriel is retelling, and I may be re-saying what you just said, but, um,
And he's
yeah, I
very
would think
different in the two as well. Like his
yeah,
young self and his old self are completely different. So it is almost like reading two separate characters as well.
yeah, so he did that really well to the point where both of the main 2 plots that you're following are equally engaging, um and it's interesting the way it's just interesting the way he decided to do it and the things that he decides not to actually spell out. He'll just tell you like randomly about all these different things he accomplished, and maybe some of those things will be fleshed out more in book 2 and 3. But some stuff I feel like he just says and he's not going to hit it, because it's years and years
Yeah.
and years of Gabriel being a Silver Saint, where he chases down wretches and vampires and all these different types of monsters. And he kind of just glosses over some of them, and I like that because it makes it feel real. It makes it feel like a real person is telling their story, and all these things have really
Yeah.
happened. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I liked that.
What'd you think about the
Characters were
world?
great.
Because I know you're oh,
The
because you're a
world,
world guy, world building guy. So
yeah,
I like the
I
world. So I'm just
am.
curious to know what you.
Yeah, I am. And it's funny you say that because I hadn't really thought about it a ton. Because he kind of just baked it in, and it's I liked it. There's not a ton of world building, but I like the stuff that you do. You get some history. There are still some questions left unanswered. So yeah, I thought the world building was good. This one felt more. Not that the world building didn't matter, because it definitely does, and there's more to be fleshed out that makes you want to come back for the next books. But the world building wasn't really what stood out to me. And you're right. That's like the thing I look for and the thing I enjoy the most. But the world building isn't what really stuck out to me in this book. But I did like it. It
Okay.
was more a character book to me that I really liked.
Oh, for sure.
So, but yeah, I like the world building. Man, vampires are just so cool, dude. When you do them right, some of these vampires in this story, it's just so badass, man. To the way he describes these, he calls them ancient, these like the oldest vampires that we've met, at least. The way he describes all the life and the years, he kind of describes it like where they have taken so much blood and so much life, and it kind of that's what gives them their immortality, is sucking life out of people, essentially. I mean, pause. But it's the way he describes it is just so epic. When one of these ancient vampires rolls up on the scene, like, it's pretty chilling, for one of them to pull up
Yeah.
to a scene. So yeah, I think that world building aspect he did so well, man. He made these vampires really scary.
They're so
And he just
powerful
kind of made
too.
everything. Oh yeah, they're so powerful, and
Like you
it's
have to catch them like on the wrong time. Like you have to be very methodical, and I think he plays that out well. Which again, we're still not in spoilers, but you know, Gabriel. I don't think it's like a spoiler to say, because it happens really fast. He's half vampire, half human. So like he has some
mhm,
abilities, but not. But like what you're talking about, like these vampires. I mean, there's not that many of these ancient ones, but the ones that are out there, I mean, they pull up and they're wiping out everybody. Unless if
yeah,
like
they're an absolute problem.
they have to be at the worst pot. Like you have to be pulling out tricks and all this stuff. And so, I mean, I kind of like that when the villain is like just super overpowered. And so, like, now we have to really figure something out and be strategic. Cause then it
Yeah,
makes it to where, cause there's some still like some really cool fight scenes in this, but
mhm,
it's not just about the fight scenes of like, oh, can he just be better with his sword? It's like, no, they're going to have to figure something
right.
out because they can't just 1v1. Cause if they do, they'll lose.
Yeah, and it's so funny you say that because, like, when you were talking, the thing I thought about that, "Oh, I wanna say this next," was I never, ever in these reviews, or even when I'm thinking or talking to someone about a book, I never talk about, "Oh, the action was sick," because I don't know why, that's never what I'm looking for in a book. I like it, I enjoy a good
Yeah.
action scene, but I'm never going into a book thinking, "Man, I hope this action's sick." Like, I know with the first Law trilogy with Joe Abercrombie, that's a big thing, is his action sequences are great, and they are, but it's not ever what I think about when I think about the fact that I love the first Law trilogy. But I do want to
Yeah.
say the action in this book is absolutely sick, dude. It is devastating what happens to this main character
Yeah.
constantly, and you obviously know him being a pale blood is what they call it, basically a half breed between a vampire and a human. That's what the Silver Saints are. They have the ability to fight vampires because they have a little bit of that cursed blood, if you will. But because of that, the durability is through the roof compared to humans. So this dude's taking,
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting absolutely, I mean, shellacked, like, left and right. Every time he gets in a fight, dude, he's like Invincible, man. If you read Invincible comics or you watch the Invincible show, especially, it's like, I mean, he's invincible. You know what I mean? Like, this dude's getting
Yeah.
clapped every time he pulls up to a fight, but he's not dying because he's a pale blood or
Yeah.
because he's invincible, whatever. Um, but that being said, dude, the action is just so, like, it's not like grotesque or anything, but it's violence where, I mean, you feel it. Like, you feel
Yeah.
Gabriel's pain through the page as much as you can.
It's
You know what I
it's
mean?
creative too, yeah. It's not like just cling clang. fight done.
Yes.
Like there's every fight scene, there's something new that'll happen, like either a new power that you didn't necessarily know about,
Yeah.
or there's like a reason for the fight. It's not just like, oh, they're fighting
Yeah.
just to fight. Like you're kind of he's revealing more of the world and what these vampires are able to do. But yeah, I mean, I don't if I genuinely, it's tough because there are pictures in this book too. So like a lot of the outside, like if you were to write things down on paper about this book, it's like, I don't know if this is for everyone. But dude, I just don't know, especially if anyone has even a little bit of interest in vampires. Like, I just don't know anyone who wouldn't enjoy this book because,
Yeah, you've
I
gotta
mean,
like this if you
I
like
don't know if you
vampires.
feel too, but Gabriel's such a good character. Like I'm just very interested
Yeah.
in Gabriel. He's like an anti-hero kind of guy. And
Mhm.
so if he wasn't interesting, this book would not like do well at all because obviously it's solely like
Yeah.
built around him. But he's just so
Yeah.
interesting in so many parts of his life. But I mean, I just don't know. Like Jake, I feel like is a good reference point. Well, maybe not the best because he's very niche with what he likes. But I think Jake would like this book. Do you think he would?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think you would like it.
No.
I mean, the best character is usually a tragic character, man, and Gabriel is so tragic. Like his life is, I mean, it's tragedy after tragedy, bro. My guy cops no dubs, no
No.
dubs, bro. I mean, he cops a couple, dude, but they pale in comparison to the amount of L's this dude takes. Um,
Yeah, it's
but
not.
that's what makes a character so interesting, man. Is you because not only is it interesting to see a character go through that, but because we're getting different times in Gabriel's life, technically three, his youth, some of his midlife, and then also the point where he's in the tower in the present. So you're
Yeah,
seeing like in real time, sometimes in just a matter of a couple pages, you are seeing the differences in him because of the things he's experienced. So yeah, dude, that's why I said this book is really all about character. Even though the action's great, even though the world building is epic, everything's really cool, and there's like a dark edge to it that is fun. It's really all about Gabriel, dude. And there's other characters where the character work is great, and we can say names without spoiling. Like Dior, great character work. Chloe,
yeah.
great character work.
Oh,
I mean, so many characters that are great. And twists and turns,
Greyhand is
you
one
love
that
them,
I
you
like
hate
a
them.
lot.
Greyhand's great. Dude, the guy that's interviewing him, you don't get a ton from Jean Francois. I think I'm
Yeah,
saying
he's
his name right.
interesting.
Why is everything
He's in.
French, by the way? We'll just leave that out there.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, the characters are just great. So I think that's where this book really sticks the landing, if you will, is and what makes you want to come back for more is you just want, dude, I want to know what else Gabriel went through, and I want to know how things end up
yeah,
for him. And I mean, that's most books that are done really well. Is it's the characters that really keep you coming back. But yeah, have we not hit anything big non spoiler? I feel like we've kind of covered it.
yeah. It's got everything in it. It's got cool dark vampire world. It's got cool characters. It's got a lot of tragedy. It's got a lot of like action. It's got a good romance story too, like
Yeah,
that I
yeah, it's
find
got good
very
romance.
intriguing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I mean, if you're into the whole sex scene stuff, I mean, Jay'll dip his
There
toe
are
in
a few
that
of
for you.
those.
Don't worry. So
He will,
it's
and
got a little bit of everything. That may
we'll
be
just
the
get
only
that. We'll just
downfall
get
for you
that
with
part out of the way
Jay.
now because yeah, we'll just get that out of the way now because I don't need to spoil anything. We all know what sex is, which is kind of the main reason why I don't understand why people keep writing sex scenes. We all know what happens during sex, guys. I do not need you to write all the little intricacies of what these people are doing while they're having sex, bro. Just tell me they had sex. I get it. They love each other, whatever. But it's just the thing that really grinds my gears, and this is for men and women writing these things. All I can think about when I'm reading this scene is you sitting in your basement,
No,
chubbed
dude.
up, writing about people that it, it writing about people having sex. I'm not even going to say all the things I'm thinking. It's just it's grotesque. You're weird. I understand people like it, but you're weird. You are weird if you write these things. Now, if you read them
Well,
and
his
enjoy
go
them,
on for a little
I'm
bit
not going to
too.
judge
Like his
you.
will be a page or two, so it's not like a quick in and out. Like it is. He stays there for a second, and dude, with the Audible especially, it's like, all right, like, come on,
Yeah, and it's
like
like, bro,
let's
it's
get
just I'm
through this.
just asking myself. I'm like, Jay, why are you trying to horn me up?
Yeah, and dude, the different names he
Answer
has
me
for
that.
stuff because they never say what it is. but we all know. But he'll use
Yeah,
words
dude.
like length or crown,
Dude,
and it's like,
length,
dude,
breadth,
crown. But dude, crown to
dude.
me was diabolical.
Yeah,
Crown,
dude.
dude. I was like, come on,
Dude,
dude.
and I'm tired of flower too. Stop saying flower. Like, put your feet down and say like stop saying flower. I'm just tired of it, bro. I'm tired of these grown men writing about people that are much younger than them having sex. I'm tired of it, dude. I'm tired of it.
At
So
least
Jay, chill
to
out.
go on one more rant though, and then we can go spoilers, I guess. At least in this book, the people were of age. In Nevernight, he does the same thing, and they're people that are or underage, and that is where it's like, all right, now really, what are we doing right now?
Yeah, and
Because
that's
this is
that takes you to
weird.
the Brent Weeks, Way of Shadows
Yes,
stuff as well. Yeah, when it's minors, it's totally inexcusable. Look, I'm not trying to say look, I'm not being a prude about it. Everybody likes sex. We all have a great time out here, but I mean, for the love of God, dude, I do not need to read about it. If I want to watch, go watch. All right, and you're probably gonna have to bleep that out, Andrew, because I don't think you can say that on YouTube. But
it's corn,
it's
dude.
just like all I can. It's not. I don't have a problem with the fact that it's happening, that it's in the book. All I can think about is you sitting at your desk writing it, or being on your computer writing it, dude, and like looking up references for sex to see how you can write this more cleverly. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
dude, chill out. Like you're a grown man. Chill out. you
yeah.
know. So maybe that's
It's
just
so
me.
easy. This is definitely our preference. Unfortunately, there are people out there that's like what they hang on to, but I don't mind for like that development with certain characters and to see that, but it's you can do that in so many ways to where it's just like very hardly inferred. Or you get in and
Yeah.
get out. Whereas he does linger a little bit. I will say it's not enough to even remotely knock this book down though. You know, it
No,
wasn't
no, not
Brent
at all.
Weeks. It wasn't how it felt in Nevernight where it's like, oh, these are children. Like
Yeah.
so I will say, like it's nothing, it's just this is our rant here. If we just don't, that's not us. But even in this book, it still was fine. It's just if we didn't have it,
Yeah.
it'd be even better. But with it, it doesn't necessarily bring it down any. It's just why? Why do it? I guess it's
And it
more
just
the
feels like you're reaching into the bottom of the barrel to try to instigate the most primal thing in us about sex. It's like, dude, the dumbest people who have ever lived in humanity's history, cave people, knew how to have sex. We don't have to talk about it. And it's just, it seems debased to me, to be honest with you. So I'm just, I'm so tired of it. These grown men are sick, whatever. I'm not a writer, so maybe I would be different if I was a famous writer. I don't know. But dude, just tell me they had sex and move on because it feels like you're having to take up page time and it feels like you're trying to convince me that you're not a virgin and I'm not here for it. So
yeah.
that's the only thing. But again, it's a 5-star book and most people probably don't feel passionately about it the way that I do. So it probably doesn't matter. So if you have not read this book and you do not want things to be spoiled, like the spicy sex scenes that we're about to talk about in detail,
Yep.
go ahead and check out now because we are going to spoil things. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. So the way we always do it, we're going to continue to do it. We're going to start at the end and work our way back. At least that's where I immediately go to, right?
Yeah.
Or do you
So
want to
what's
stop
your
me from doing that?
no, I want you
Okay.
to talk about whatever comes to your mind when you think spoiler.
So, I mean, the biggest thing for me right off the rip, and I saw it coming, dude. So the second that Gabriel and Dior, they're like running. They're about to. There's like vampires headed towards them. They're about to get in a fight, and then Chloe, who you think is probably dead, and I kind of you didn't see a body, so you're like she's probably alive, but there was like
Yeah.
a fake out death of Chloe, but she comes back and she's with Greyhand, who your character Gabriel hasn't seen in like a decade or 7 years or something. When they pull up to get them to San Michon to take Dior there to do whatever they need to do with the Holy Grail to end Day's death, I knew immediately they're gonna want to kill Dior. They're gonna have to do something to
Something
sacrifice
bad.
her, and Gabriel's gonna have to go ape to save her. It was a Last of Us thing. Um,
See,
and
I
I'm
haven't
not
seen
saying
The
like
Last of Us. So when you made that reference, it didn't necessarily hit for
so I
me.
haven't
But
played
so
the
that's what
game.
happens in The Last of Us?
Yeah, I haven't played the game, but I've seen the show, and I believe that the game and the first season of the show are fairly similar. But essentially, yeah, The Last of Us, it's a zombie thing with mold or whatever. Um, and the girl who is immune these doctors think they can get a cure from her, but it's going to kill her for them to extract the cure, essentially. So Joel goes ape and kills like 40 people, like shoots these people in the head, to save her because it's not worth it to him. So when that happened, I was like, oh man, Chloe, this sweet girl, this oh sweet, sweet saint of a girl that we have seen throughout this entire book, she is trying to kill Dior to get this. So that was something that I didn't see throughout the whole book, but the moment they got in contact, I was like,
Yeah, something's
something's
up.
not right, bro. Why is Gray Hand showing up? And there's no tell there in the book, but there was just something because of the characters, and we knew how things were. We had some hints about how things had ended badly for Gabriel, leaving San Michon with his wife, with Astrid. Um, and I just knew I was like, something's not right here. Something's not
Yeah.
right, dude. They're gonna want to kill this girl to try to extract her blood or whatever they're gonna try to do. And so yeah, I knew that was gonna happen, but I still liked it. I still thought it was great. So that's the first thing that pops in my mind that I just have to say.
Well, how about how
And
that even happens? Isn't that kind of crazy? That whole
I
scene
mean,
of him getting absolutely, wrecked and then thrown off the little mini bridge and
yeah, dude. I mean, they open up his throat and then throw him off a bridge. And that takes you into the next immediate crazy spoiler. Is that's when Liath saves him with her little moths. She ties up his throat, stops the bleeding, and then Liath gives him blood, which we've met Liath. We know she's like a disgusting looking, like half faceless vampire, but she's a really
yeah.
strong one that has like a sword of her own blood. She's different than the rest. She's not with
Mhm.
the
And she's fighting
Voss.
against she's fighting she'll like
Yeah,
kill
she's fighting
vampires and
against the
stuff.
Voss. Yeah. So she saves Gabriel, and then that's the moment when you find out that it's his sister who he initially thought was dead, um, killed by the Vosses, he thought. She's Liath. That was now that I never once
You didn't
saw
see that
coming.
one?
That shocked me. That shocked me.
Yeah, that
It
one's
was
a good
great.
one. And dude, she's sick. I hate to say it because she definitely is one of those characters where it's like I don't want to say I hate to say it. It's like, what is her motive? Because that's what you can't
Mm,
tell. Clearly, she has. Obviously, I've read book 2, but she clearly values Dior, and maybe in a different way than how the Voss like are trying to get Dior for something, and it's kind of inferred maybe it's because they also believe she's the way to end Death's Day, which then obviously eliminates a lot of the power that these vampires have. But it seems like she's up to something different, and
yeah.
that is interesting, especially because her powers were so sick. And then, kind of getting a little bit of a taste of what Gabriel's Gabriel's like actual powers are, since we think he's a frail blood for a long time, and then come to
Hmm.
find out he's a part of that mythical bloodline that
Yeah.
it seems like a very big like, hey, don't do that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
there's definitely some cool stuff to come with them. Um, and she's
Yeah.
OP.
She seems like it. And yeah, is it Sagwamancy? Did I say that right?
Sacramency,
Like
yeah,
his
whatever it is. Yeah, the controlling
whatever
of
it
blood.
is, it's like yeah, his thing that he has controlling the blood. Um, yeah, you realize before you learn who Liath is, a scene with her, you realize she does have that same bloodline as Gabriel. So yeah, there's a lot. It seems like Gabriel is going to learn a lot of new tricks, most likely, because you find out that this whole time, like what, 15 years, Liath has been learning about her bloodline and what she can do. She basically tells Gabriel, like, bro, you don't know nothing about like everything that's going on and everything that you can do with this power. So it seems like Gabriel's probably going to get a massive upgrade in the next book, if I had to guess, or at some point. Um, because yeah, dude,
Well,
I
you
mean,
get a
she can
little
make a sword with her blood.
tease with it at the very end of the book, like the very very end, where it goes back to present day, and he
Oh,
tests
where him
uh Jean
like
Michel or whatever his name is. Yeah, when
well, he had
he
already
hits
done
him
that
with that.
before, right? Where he like boils somebody by touching them. He had already done that.
Yeah, but I don't
Was there
know.
something
It's
new
just
in that though?
I don't know if
I may
there's
have
something
missed
new.
it.
It's just you can just kind of see how. I guess it seems like he knows what he's doing now, like what you're saying. Like
Oh, yeah, right.
he didn't
Okay, I
like
see what you're saying.
accident. He like kind of accidentally did it before, whereas at that time,
Fair,
he was
yeah.
trying to get him, and he almost
He
did.
knew exactly what he was doing. Right. Okay, that's fair. I get what you're saying. So yeah, that was cool. The Holy Eighth thing. I mean, so what for you when you're thinking of spoilers? Like what? I mean, what was the big thing for you?
Um, I mean, I guess that, she's kind of the main big spoiler to me. I mean, I think the spoiler that's the most obvious that you had talked about was Dior being a girl and not a boy, which I
Hmm.
think mainly the only reason you can tell that is because of the pictures that are included in the book. I think if those are not
Yeah,
included, it would be harder to tell. So if you're just doing Audible, it's not an easier look. Um, when I
yeah.
was
Because if you're looking at the
obviously,
pictures, reading when I first met
yeah,
Dior and then saw the picture, I was like, "That's a boy."
yeah,
And it's like, "Hey, it's fine. Do your
look,
thing, whatever. We're
yeah,
allies." But it was a little. I was like, "That's." I had to like double check. Like, is this a picture of Dior or is this someone else?
someone
It's like,
else,
wow,
yeah.
that's a very effeminate looking young man. I
Exactly.
mean, beautiful boy. I'm sure he'll slay. But yeah, come to find out, makes more sense. It's actually a pretty
A
girl.
girl. Yeah.
Um, and I
I
thought that was great, dude. And it made me like Dior so much more, dude. And I really don't
yeah.
even know why, but it made me like her so much more the moment I found out. I was like, man, that puts
She's a
so much. It's
difficult character too. Like
yeah, she's difficult.
she's so easy to just either be insufferable or like a good
Hmm.
character. It's like such a
Yeah,
fine line with her, and I do agree. Like their relationship, especially after
yeah,
everyone kind of gets murked, um, like you see some progress there, and because you get her
yeah.
backstory, and she becomes a little bit more real on why she is the way she is, because she's
Well,
obviously
yeah,
lived serious tragedy. Um,
yeah. You get so much more perspective on her character. You understand why she's kind of like, uh, you know, a bitch basically a lot of the time, and it's not because she's a woman, but it's because you realize, oh, this is a girl who's been trying to hide the fact that she's a girl. She's not only trying to hide the fact that she is the Holy Grail and every vampire alive wants her like dead or as their slave
yeah.
essentially, but she's also a girl in a very dark world where obviously, you know,
Well,
girls are
then it
victims
sucks
of
too
all
that
kinds of
basically
things.
if she just tries to help anyone, the
Yeah.
Inquisition is like a factor we haven't really talked about, which they're just kind of that like third party, like almost
Yeah.
like the White Cloaks in Wheel of
Yeah,
Time, where it's like
there's always a
who are
crusader.
yeah, they don't understand. They're just the motive is there, but the like product is not accurate. Um, but I will say what gives Gabriel more depth and helps him connect, obviously, with um, Dior, which gets revealed. And it didn't hit as hard this time, but I remember the first time reading it um, was, I mean, finding out that Astrid and Patience are dead. Like they got
Yeah.
killed, and that's why he's there. Like that part was so sad, dude, to find out. Which I
Yeah.
don't know why. I don't think I saw it coming at all. Like, did you see that coming? Like with the first time I
With
read it,
Astrid
I think
and
that was yeah, being like, why is he not with his wife and kids? Like, I feel like I should
so
have seen it and I didn't see it the first time I read it.
I did see it coming like I can't say I saw it coming, but I did wonder like it is weird that he's like on this
His world out
journey
here.
and not with them. Like
Yeah,
it is weird that like and then it started, she's like visiting him in his dreams and you can't know for sure is he just dreaming that because he misses her or did something terrible happen? But you do start to get the idea something is not right here. You do realize that he talks about them a lot in the past tense, but as a reader, when you don't know that yet, you can't just assume. You're like, well, maybe that's just because he hasn't seen them in months or years or who knows what. So yeah, but I did start to. I was like, okay, they're either dead or I never assumed they were dead. What I actually thought was that at least Astrid was a vampire now. I thought that those hallucinations he was having, bro, I thought Astrid was actually pulling up like as a
yeah,
vampire and he was just trying to ignore her and she wasn't, she's not with Voss or anything like that, but she is a vampire and it haunts him. And so I thought we
yeah,
were going to learn, oh, the Forever King turned his wife and child into a vampire, so now the people he loves most in the world are the thing he swore to destroy. So that's where I was thinking it was going, but I mean it was just as terrible. They are dead and got killed right in front of him. He had to kill Astrid actually because she
she
did get
was a
turned.
vampire. Yeah,
Yeah. I guess she was unconscious still, but he could tell she was turned. I'm not sure. Or maybe she wasn't.
that's
Maybe she asked him to kill her. I can't remember.
yeah. That is, he did have to kill her though, which was a tragedy.
Either way, he had to kill his own wife. After he watched his 10-year-old daughter, get killed in front of him. So yeah, all that to say, I did not see them being dead coming, but I at least halfway through, I knew something was up. Something was not right with Astrid and Patience.
Yeah. Which was sad, dude. That I mean, it was sad, man. So I mean, it makes sense now why he has, you know, because to kind of go back to when I was talking about non spoilers, like the main obviously spoiler part of this, which I appreciate, is the first Gabriel that you're getting when he's going like early days, like he's just such a strong believer in like the church and like the religion that they have, and then obviously you kind of find out why he no longer believes that, because you're getting in the second half and it's like, well, why does he not care at all about this anymore?
Right.
And so then it makes sense, but then it is kind of cool to have that like circle moment of, all right, he's got to believe in something now, and
Yeah.
now it's Dior. So,
Yeah.
that ends up being cool, and obviously that's like what is the trajectory of like book 2, because
Right.
now they're like he saved her and had to like kill everybody at
Right.
Saint Michon, and
Yeah.
so now it's just all right, like it's just the three, the odd trio of
Yeah.
Celine, Gabriel, and Dior. Um, so
Which that
it,
it's executed so well. Whatever that trope is that is similar in The Last of Us in this book, where a father-esque figure, like even if Gabriel is told by Liath that what they're doing is not going to work anyway, but you get the sense and that even if they thought it might work, Gabriel was still not going to let this happen. So the trope of a
yeah,
fatherly figure not allowing his daughter type figure to be sacrificed for the greater good, whether it's going to work or not. I like that trope because it's like, it's that friction between, like, again, the greater good or personal sacrifice. Um, but the tragedy you learn is that this man has already lost a daughter. His daughter was killed in front of him. So now he has this young girl who he's trying to protect from literally everyone, from humans and from vampires, who both want to use her for their own gain. And he's just like, dude, she's like this kid who's been through all this horrible stuff and doesn't trust anybody. And now she trusts me. I'm not letting this happen to her, no matter what. I don't care what you guys think. And he was, he already wasn't friends anymore with Greyhand and the people at San Michon, but there were some of them that he still cared about. He like dapped them up and they were boys when they saw each other. But once it became clear that they were trying to kill Dior, they were dead, bro. They were literally raw meat at that point.
yeah.
Before they were even dead, they were considered raw meat.
You hate to see
And I
that.
love that, bro. I mean, dads always win, A
It
loving
is,
father is
yeah,
a great trope.
it is, especially like a damaged one, like one that's not like
Oh
clearly
yeah.
not perfect, but then at the end
Because
of the
that's
day, they'll
real.
make so many mistakes, but then yeah, they're always gonna sacrifice whatever it takes for
Yeah.
for that
Because he
last thing.
swallows his pride, man. You see throughout this book, especially as Gabriel gets older, he knows what he knows. He does not, like, even if he's at this point where he's like, even if God is real, he does not care about us. Like, I'm just going to drink, do my holy sanctus, and be like a bum. He's like, but once Dior touches his life and he starts to kind of see his daughter in her. I mean, you just see the man come out of his shell and become like who he is. And I mean, that's just good stuff. I don't care who you are. Left,
Yeah,
right,
I
center.
agree.
I don't care.
I
I
don't
don't
care
care
who
who you
you
are.
are. I will
Um,
say he sets the tone for this book when early on, I think it's the first like book like portion. Um, he's talking about how he's like riding justice away from you. Like don't know like how he ended up where he was, but it's before he meets up with Chloe and gang. Um, and Justice steps like in a pothole essentially and just shatters his leg. And it's like
yeah, dude.
obviously later on you come to find out like he's been with him. I think he references like how he's been with him this whole time. It's his only
Yeah,
friend, and it's like,
yeah,
come on, dude, this quick in the book, and his only
yeah,
friend
dude.
he's gonna have to put down. It's like,
Yeah. And not only that, dude, not only like Justice, this horse that's been with him forever, but then he gets another horse and that horse dies. And he
of
has to
course,
he has to pull a
as
revenant and
soon as they
sleep in it for
change
the
the
night.
name, as soon as
Oh
they
yeah.
change the name, dude.
Yeah, called her Fortuna. I'm like, dude, you just cursed that horse. You named it Luck, basically. Like you just cursed that horse in this world. So that was a
Right.
tragedy. I mean, we hate when animals die every
We
time.
haven't talked
That's
about
always
Ash
terrible.
Drinker either, which Ash
Yeah, dude,
Drinker's
old
cool.
Nightblood. I did like
Yep.
Ash Drinker. Yeah.
And I
I mean,
like that
talking
she's
sword, bro, is just cool.
oh, and she's flawed too because I mean, you find out how she was broken when he tries
Hmm.
to kill Forever King
Fabian.
when he pulls into his
Hmm.
house. And she's kind of damaged because of that. So, and it's also a cool like plot device for like that whole story to even be revealed because he's having to give Dior Ash Drinker and like you can only hear her in your head. So when Dior's holding it, you don't know what Ash Drinker's saying. Like I don't know, I just feel like that was a well done plot device for Dior to like get caught up on information without like having to
Yeah.
do another dump that doesn't seem real. Um, so
Dude, how
I just
about
thought that was used well.
the very heavy uh Christianity uh in the religion of the Redeemer that the Silver
Yeah,
Saints and everybody follow? I mean, it is copy paste, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's cool the way he does it, but it's copy paste God sending his son down, Jesus being killed, and just there's so many little things he does where he kind of ties in Christianity as like the
yeah,
religion that's kind of holding the door against, the immortality of vampires. And that's what's so cool about vampires as well in this type of story is, and he does it so well with the Forever King, because the Forever King at one point tells, or at multiple points tells Gabriel, he's basically, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially if Gabriel wins this little battle or he kills some high ranking vampire, the Forever King just tells him, he's like, dude, I have forever. Like,
yeah,
you can run, you can fight. I have forever to attain my goals. And it's
yeah,
just like, dude, that's such a heavy conflict, dude, and it makes for such good reading because it's humanity up against immortality,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Um so yeah, all the religious stuff and the immortality with the vampires and the Forever King, man, was just, it was done very well, man.
It was a good like fantasy religion is solid. I
Yeah.
mean, it's done well in Dune as well, but like it kind of reminds me of that
Hmm.
in a sense where it's just. But I mean, what's cool is that I guess in this world, I can't say. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say even in the second book, you don't really see that come to fruition as far as like it's not like God's going to come down and blight them, but like to reference in this book, like clearly there is power in it because I forget his name, but the monk guy that's with them who like honestly stands on business for a second, and then the guy's
Mm,
like, "Well, yeah, but throw away your little wheel icon thing. You don't need
yeah.
that. You can." Beat me without
Yep.
it. And for a second, he wavers, and then he's toast. But
Yep.
then, I can't remember if it's that vampire or if it's Gabriel. Like someone's like, he would have actually won if he would have
Yeah.
just because his
Gabriel
faith was so
says,
strong,
yeah.
but because he thought
Hmm.
he needed that for a half a second is when he lost it. Like that little wrinkle, I think is cool,
Yeah.
to where
It's
because
pretty
that plays
cool.
even further to your point of like if you just believe it's there, like the weapon to defeat this is there, but dude, it's just humankind. Like you can believe
Yeah.
for a second, but it only takes like a little moment of like disbelief, and then they
Yeah.
can just slip
When
right
it's,
in there, and they
it's,
have such confidence in humanity's disbelief. The vampires do. It's
yeah.
crazy.
When it's such a good analogy, especially if you have like any religious beliefs of, you know, that priest was basically, it's essentially a cross, but it's a wheel in this story. But it's the whole idea of a cross, putting a cross to a vampire's face will make them back and shy away. But it's this analogy of the fact that that priest, he did have faith, but he, at least to some degree, had placed his faith in the object and not the actual faith of the Redeemer. And it's just a cool analogy and a cool moment where the vampire knows that, the enemy knows that. He's like, do you think that little thing is what's keeping me away? Throw it away then. And he makes the guy waver because the guy's like, wait, is it the thing or is it my faith? And that, just that split second, gives that vampire an opening, which is just, again, so tragic, dude. I mean, it's, this priest was
So
so
close.
solid in every scene he was in. In 1 second, he wavers and he dies.
Yeah.
And doesn't actually, he doesn't die in that moment. He dies
Yeah.
later.
Worse than death. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a very slow death, turns into a vampire basically, and then gets killed. But yeah, that stuff was good. Who have we not talked about? We didn't. I mean, this is also a book, it
We didn't
should
talk
be
about
said,
probably your
where
favorite
nobody is safe.
twist. Oh,
What? What twist?
sorry, it broke up for a second. I said your favorite twist with Aaron DeCoste and
Mm,
Baptiste, man. That was a fun twist.
dude, it was. I mean, it was another moment where, there was a slight, sexual scene, and it was like, dude, I don't need that. You can just tell me what's going on. But yeah, Aaron and Baptiste were getting it on, and obviously, it was another analogy type thing, with the religious views of the Silver Saints, like, being gay is not allowed. So that's like a whole thing. But Gabriel, your titular character, is, he's like, bro, I mean, love is love. Which is cool. You're going to see that in these
Did you
books. But
did you see Aaron and him and Gabriel becoming boys? Like, was it obvious to you? Like,
yeah,
because they
dude.
hate each other so
Yeah.
much. Like early on, it's like, all right, that
Yeah.
hatred's a
I
little
was
too
like,
much.
dude, yeah, I was like, these guys are going to end up getting married or something. Like, they're going to love each other. So, yeah, I knew eventually what happened, but again, it didn't take away from the arc of him making it happen, because he fleshes it out. And it's, I mean, you're assuming, you don't know, it could have ended a different way, but you're assuming like eventually, these guys are forged in the fires of war together. So they're probably going to be boys. But it was done really well, man. And that ends up, they love each other, by the end of the
Yeah,
story. They're homeboys. So yeah, all that stuff was great. I like the whole thing with, them leaving San Michon, and, I like a story of losing faith and having to find it. So I thought that was done really well. But to that point, the Silver Saints, when they're, three or more are gathered and they're walking with the spirit or whatever, they like turn like a bluish silver hue, their tattoos. But
yeah,
towards the end, when Gabriel is
Gabriel.
defending Dior, and he's lost his faith this whole time, this to this point in the story, so he doesn't go silver clad anymore. But at this point in the story, he turns a different color. He's like Charizard. He's like red or orange or
Yeah,
something. It's like an actual flame color. So it's like, you know, I'm very interested to see what Kristoff does with that. Like, where does the power of the Silver Saints come from? Is it just faith in anything? Is that God real and he rewards any type of faith? Um, or is
that
that power
fifth
coming from
ideal, man.
somewhere else? Yeah, I mean, what ideals do you have to speak to get different colors? When do you get a shard blade? These are questions that Jay has yet to answer, but I'm looking forward to seeing them in the next book. Um,
I'm excited for you to read book two. Book two is a little different. We've talked about it kind of a little bit, but the storyline itself is different. Like, obviously, I've told you already, and I wouldn't say it's a huge spoiler. If anything, I think it would kind of promote the next book to like make you want to read it more. But there is another character's POV that you end up getting, who's also
mhm.
captured in the castle with Gabriel, and so that makes things like,
Mm,
it just gives you another thing to toss around and make it interesting. Um, but just the story that he's still telling, I guess getting closer to figuring out how he even got captured, um, it's pretty cool. Like, I think I like it more for sure. The next book, it's not much more, but it's just a little bit of a twist, so it feels a little bit more fresh. I could see where some people maybe don't like the second book as much because of some liberties that he takes, but um, it's a little bit different in a sense. Not completely different like
yeah,
Red Rising to like Red Rising 2, but um it's definitely not quite the same like template that he's using, which I kind of respect for kind of taking that chance. But I am
yeah,
excited for you to read book 2.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it as well. The only other thing we haven't talked about, spoiler, that I do want to mention, I was about to say it when we kind of got a little disconnected. Nobody is safe in this book. I mean, the entire crew dies. All
Yeah.
the boys die. At one point in this book, all the homies, Shorsh, however you say her name, I can never say
Saoirse,
that name, bro.
dude, that's an Irish or Scottish name, dude.
It's an
That's
Irish, yeah,
brutal.
it's like an Irish
It's
thing, and
not
I know there's
pronounced
an
how it's
actress with
spelled.
that name. Yeah, it's spelled like
It's like
Sororzy
Saoirse.
or something, but it's not. Yeah, it's like
Saoirse,
Saoirse.
I think it is.
Um, but the actress who has that name, I can't remember what her last name is. She's freaking beautiful. But anyway, I always get confused when I see that name. But yeah, I mean, all the homies lost their lives, so I'm curious to see what happens in the next book. I mean, I'm just not going to count on anybody making it to the end except Gabriel, I guess. But yeah, man, I have to say, like I said, you have yet to steer me wrong on any of these recommendations, and I did love this book. I like a good vampire story. It was nice to read it right before the spooky season. And apologies if you're still here and you've noticed that I sound like ass. It's because I've been deathly sick for the last 3 days. So I actually finished this, I don't know, I guess like 4 or 5 days ago. But So a little early, but a little early start to the spooky season, I kind of liked. So looking forward to more
Okay.
vampires. Definitely reading book 2 this month, and then book 3 comes out in November. So looking forward to continuing reading about the Empire, man. Anything else to say, brother?
No, it's definitely the perfect time. I mean, obviously, if you're at this point, hopefully you've actually read the book and it's not just getting spoiled for you. But perfect time to read Empire of the Vampire with book 3 coming out so soon. It's like
Yeah,
a good amount of time to read 1, 2, and then have 3 come out immediately, so you're not having to wait for anything. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. If you have any thoughts about the book, let us know. If you've read any of his comics, Jay Kristoff's comics, let us know. 'Cause I'd be curious to know what those are like. But it's a book reviews out. Morbin time has concluded.